What's up, guys? This is YGO Silence coming at you with another deck profile. Now today I'm going to be showing you my Lair of Darkness Darklords. This is using the new structure deck that came out kind of today or yesterday. I'm doing this video at like 1 a.m. Saturday morning, so if I seem a little tired, I do apologize. I just really wanted to get this out as quickly as possible to show you guys kind of my first thoughts and ideas using this deck. I took it to locals. I did pretty well. It was an excellent day for me. This deck is very interesting in that sometimes it seems almost unbeatable. I was playing it one of my first rounds against Mech Knight Invoked, and I was, game one, I was like, oh my god, this is going to be tier 0, this is unbeatable, non-targeting, non-destruction removal, with tributing my opponent's monsters. I just felt incredibly powerful. And then I played Paleo, and I felt like, wow, this deck has some glaring weaknesses. So I feel as the meta evolves and as we see what everyone is playing, as possibly after this next ban list, after everything shapes up, and as people have had more time to utilize this Lair of Darkness deck, we're really going to see a lot of play with it, and I do very much enjoy it, and I think it has an incredibly high skill ceiling. But anyway, guys, that being said, let's get right into this profile. Alright guys, starting off with the main deck, I quickly want to say this is a Lair of Darkness deck with Darklords in it, alright? Darklords are not your main combo pieces, they're there to facilitate your plays, alright? To help provide you big beaters to get on board, to go into rank 8s, to tribute with your viruses, a lot of different things, alright? And they're also really good in the mirror match. I actually played a mirror match today, and the Darklord engine kind of carried me through because Darkest Diablos cannot be tributed by your opponent. And usually with a pure form of the Lair of Darkness, your main form of removal is tributing. So the thing is, it's whoever drops Darkest Diablos first kind of wins. Well, he was playing a pure and I was playing the Darklord version, so he could not out my Darkest Diablos, but I could out his with rank 8s. So that kind of helped carry me through. But anyway, guys, let's get right to these ratios. Alright? 3 Ixchil, 3 Superbia. Ixchil is, you know, a fantastic card. It's your draw engine. Superbia is a trade-in target. They're all allure targets. Enough said, you know? Now, starting off with the Lair of Darkness monsters, this is what you all came to see. 3 Lilith. Lilith, to me, is the best Lair of Darkness monster. Alright, Darkest Diablos is amazing as a boss monster, but when it comes to starting your plays off and really comboing off, Lilith is the way to go because it has a quick effect tribute. It allows you to get those normal monsters straight from your deck set onto the field without even touching your hand, so you can't droll it, you can't ash it. Lilith is definitely the way to go. Alright. Next we have 3 Arima. Arima is pretty much just a terraforming for the deck that is also an allure target that also has a tribute effect to let it combo off and synergize with the rest of the archetype. It's just an incredible card, and definitely run 3 of it, and I don't even run any terraforming because I feel you see it enough with just 3 Arima and 3 of the field spell. Then we have 3, or just 2 actually, Darkest Diablos, and the reason I only run 2 is because early today I did run 3, but it just started bricking just too much, and it was really an issue, alright? This deck, you don't need to see Darkest Diablos. You could search it with Arima, and frankly, though it is an incredible boss monster, it's not what the entire deck is predicated upon. Alright, so I'm going to run the 2. Then 1 Duke Shade. I like it because it can be a kaiju if Lair of Darkness is on board, you know, but sometimes I do feel if you didn't want to run it, you don't have to. Alright, that's my opinion on that card. The jury's still out. Alright. Next, starting off the spells, Lair of Darkness, 3. Turns all monsters on the field dark, and then if you attribute a monster, you can tribute one of your opponents once per turn, and then also the turn player gets tokens equal to the number of monsters tributed during the end phase, so it's very good. It's what the entire archetype is kind of based on. 3 contact, 3 banishment. These are your Darklord cards. They're kind of part of your engine. Gets your draws, gets the big monsters on board. You're only running the 12 Darklord cards. It's a very small, compact engine to kind of get what you need done, alright? 3 Allure. Alright, it's a dark deck. Allure. You need to run it. Only 2 trade in. You only have 5 targets for it. And so I find that just 2 is plenty. I also run 2 Desires and then 1 Upstart. This is a 39 card deck. Alright, but anyway, that is your draw power. Some 1-ofs. Monster Reborn at 1. And then Foolish Burial at 1. Definitely run those cards. They're power spells that really let you kind of do whatever you want. Now moving off to the traps. This is where some of you may disagree with me. Please, in the comments below, tell me what you would run in traps. But I found you don't want to run too many because that kind of clogs up the deck and ruins the consistency. And then also a lot of the viruses, sometimes I feel help your opponent more than they help you. Such as Crush card protects them for a few turns from battle damage, and just Full Force and Deck Dev really are hard to pull off in this deck. But anyway, 3 Grinning Grave. Tribute 1 Dark Monster with 3,000 or less attack. It's really, really nice because if you have Lair of Darkness out, pretty much all of your opponent's cards will fall into that category. Alright, and then also it will destroy monsters drawn. So that's really, really nice. That's why I like Grinning Grave. 1 Eradicator Epidemic. This is a game ender if you pull it off right. I pulled it off against Paleo the one time, called traps, and it was kind of just like, well, crap, what do you do now? And it's just an incredible card. Definitely run the Eradicator Epidemic Virus. And then finally, for the traps, closing it off, I run 2 Dark Spirit Art Greed. So this is really cool because it just says Tribute 1 Dark Monster, and then draw 2 cards. Your opponent can negate this effect by revealing 1 spell. So the way I look at it is it's just a non-targeting, non-destruction removal with tributing, with the possible upside of drawing 2. Alright, you really don't even need to think about the drawing 2, but if you time it correctly, and you know your opponent doesn't have a hand, or they used all their spells early to combo off, this is strong. I used to run Crush card in here, but I think this is better. But anyway, that's our main. Let's go off to the extra deck. Alright, time to talk about the extra deck. Now, there are a few cards in here you could pull out if you don't like them. If you wanted to run the Ghost Reaper engine, for example, there is room. You could pull a fair bit of cards out of here because there's only a few 8s you really go into a lot, and the others are more situational. But anyway, let's get right into it. Lancelot, Hope Harbinger, and Divine Dragon Knight Felgrand are pretty much the main ones you use. These 8s are all incredible, and I would say you need to run at least 1 of each in your extra deck. Zombie Stein and Cenifod, I actually have been liking a lot recently, especially Zombie Stein. So those are some I enjoy running. Then I run the full Galaxy Eyes engine. If you're a Blue Eyes player, you're very familiar with this. I run 1 Gustav. If you're going to have the 2 Ixchels out, which does happen actually a fair bit. And then finally Lynx, Sargyuja, Decode. Decode tributes if you didn't know, so that's actually really nice. Akashic, and Proxy. So anyway, that's our extra deck. Let's move on to the side. Alright guys, starting off with the side deck, I quickly want to state the side deck is almost completely up to your personal opinion. There are cards in here you could main, there are cards that you may not want to play, and there are cards, you know, such as Ghost Reaper, that you could stick in here if you wanted, depending on what cards you have and what you think works best at your locals or at your regional level. So I wanted to preface that, but anyway, this is what I use. 3 Ghost Ogre. Alright, having the hand traps, very important, 3 Droll. You could replace the Droll with an Ash, with Reapers, you know, whatever you want. I like these, alright. Next, I run Hatrunade. I've actually been enjoying this a little bit. I kind of like Hatrunade. Comes in every once in a while with those really back row heavy decks. And also some of the decks like True Draco, which run a lot of continuous back row. I like Hatrunade. one Regeki, one Dark Hole. Then from here, we have 2 Crush Card and 3 D-Barrier. So Lilith can search D-Barrier, and then I run Crush Card in here because the thing is, Crush Card is a powerful card in the right situation. The thing is, tribute 1 Dark Monster with 1,000 or less attack. That is your tokens. That is Lilith when it's normal summoned. So Crush Card is just very, very strong in that regard. But the thing is, there are backfirings, along with a lot of the other virus cards. Deck Devastation, 2,000 or more defense, I believe, and then the full force is 2,000 or more attack. The thing is, those are fairly hard to get monsters like that out, reliably, and I think what those viruses do really don't warrant tributing off a monster of that power level. So I find Crush Card, of the other viruses other than Eradicator, Epidemic, and Grinning Grave, Crush Card is the best because it's the easiest to use. But the thing is, your opponent takes no damage until the end of the next turn after this card resolves, and also they can destroy up to 3 monsters with 1,500 or more attack in their deck. So that includes stuff like Snow. All right, that includes Wolf. And the thing is, you don't want your opponent to gain advantage off of a card that you're using, all right? You want to make them lose advantage, all right? That's the whole point of Yu-Gi-Oh! And so Crush Card, in certain situations, this card is a game ender. But at the same time, if you main deck it, sometimes it'll bite you in the ass, and you really got to watch out for that. But anyway, I would side it. I wouldn't run any of the other viruses. I just don't like them. But anyway, guys, that is our side. Let's move on to closing comments. Alright, closing comments time. I really enjoy Lair of Darkness. I think as a structure deck, it was very well made by Konami, because having a structure deck where you could buy 3, kind of throw them together, and have a meta-competitive or fairly meta-competitive deck out of the box is something we haven't seen since Dino Smasher's Fury. And you remember with Dinos, I mean, it saw play for half a year. It's still seeing play. It was meta and top tier for most of that time. And in fact, even now, it's still playable. It had to be neutered on the ban list to bring it, back in check. And I think we'll see something similar, if not on the same level as Dinosaurs with this deck, because I do believe it has an incredible power ceiling, and I believe it has a depth of play that as people put more time, more effort into playing it and seeing what the ideal build is, and really putting the hours of play testing into it to make a deck great. And that can only happen when a lot of people play it. I think the deck has its strengths, being able to just neutralize powerful boss monsters with its non-targeting, non-destruction removal, and tributing it is something that is incredibly powerful. And I think it has its weaknesses. You run a lot of big monsters, and inconsistency in that situation just comes with the territory, and that's unfortunate to me, but it's just how it is. And I'm not going to sit here, by the way, and say this is the be-all, end-all deck, because I picked up this deck 5 hours ago, and I've played, against several opponents, but this is my starting point. This is where I'm going to begin the many hours of play testing to bring you guys the best deck profile for this. But anyway, guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. Please feel free to like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time.